Mina Aissatou Sise, and today Sierra Network then at the Ministry of Information and Communication concerning the usual government press briefing where the ministry can get every Thursday. We they go now the all now for make we listen to the press briefing.
Press briefing to order. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you to our weekly national press briefing at the Ministry of Information and Communication. Today, as you may see, or you may view around, the Honorable Deputy Minister and Minister are not here, but they are busy in other official functions. But notwithstanding activities of the ministry, we have to still carry on with our activities. On this note, I'd like to welcome all of you. Now for our topic proper today. Following the proclamation of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone on the 21st of July this year, Statistics Sierra Leone will be conducting the first midterm population and housing census in Sierra Leone. December 4 has been declared the census night. Activities to make this possible have already commenced. It is worthy to note that a medium-term census is a standard internationally recognized practice. For a country like Sierra Leone that is embarking on fundamental structural changes, the availability of up-to-date information is crucial for effective implementation of plans and programs at all levels. In addition, the midterm census will allow the country to update data collected during the 2015 census, check the status of the localities in the country, among other things. So throw more light on the significance of this midterm census and other related matters. We have today as our discussant Professor Usman Sankor, the Statistician General and CEO for Stats Sierra Leone, in our midst, who is going to brief the press, and after that we'll open the lines or ask the media to file in their questions. So I'll now invite Professor to come up and deliver his message, which will be followed by questions and answer session.
Okay. Good afternoon. It's an honor for me to stand here to talk to the people of Sierra Leone about the planned census, the midterm census that we will be having on the 4th of December this year. And I would be presenting to you a pack of slides. But I want you to note that I have with me here Mr. Andrew Bob Johnny, who is the Deputy Statistician General. I have Mr. Samuel Ansumana, who is the Director for Communications and Public Relations at StatSL. I have Mr. Abdullah Ibrahima, who is the Director for Censuses and GIS, and he is the National Census Coordinator. I have Dr. Mohamed Koji, who is our Technical Assistant at StatSL. As you know, it's a technical institution. And I have Isheka Toure, who is an IT assistant with us, working in the website development. It's good for me to present to you a structured way, because you need to know a bit more about the institution that is going to carry out this midterm census, and which we call the People's Census. And that should already give you an indication of what we intend to do this time. And so this midterm population and housing census in this country, as has been introduced, will be the first time we will be having such a census 5 years after what we will call the primary census. But it's a census, by the way, you should know that. And we are grateful to be hosted by the Ministry of Information and Communication here in this lovely office. I mean, this is really great. We appreciate you for giving us the opportunity to speak to the people of Sierra Leone. And we at Statistician really appreciate the Fourth Estate. You help us in disseminating technical information in a way that the people of this country would understand. And so this is why we are always happy to see you. Next. Next slide, please. So what will you hear from us today, ladies and gentlemen? We will need to tell you a little bit about Statistician, about our strengths, about our mandate, what we consider as our vision going forward. We will introduce to you the census, the midterm census. We would clarify something about the Constitution and about the acts, both the Statistics Act and the Census Act. We'll give you some key definitions. Well, you will forgive me because I'm a teacher, so even things that you know, we may probably be able to put this through to you in a way that you can understand. We do not want to leave this conference room today with lots of unknowns. We will justify and we will provide the goal and the objectives of the census and why we are going to make use of the technology and all of that. Yeah, just moved on. So, but what you need to know first is how strong our governance structure is. Statistician has a real strong and transparent governance structure. Since 2018, we are strong in a way. We have a Statistics Council that is composed of experts in various fields, including census undertakings. And we have introduced very strongly an internal audit directorate. We have an integrity management committee at Statistician, and we, on the right-hand side, we have a statistical coordinating committee. We are, of course, building up the National Census Advisory Committees, and reporting to the Deputy and Statistician General, to the two of us, we have a technical assistant, and we also have the Research and Innovation Department and Monitoring, Evaluation, and Training Department. So you have these departments. But under these ones, we have directorates. We have directors who are responsible. These are technical people, carefully selected because of their expertise, their qualifications. We have this is an institution that ranges through the spectrum of statistics. Economic statistics, that is national accounts and economic statistics, we have that division. We also have demographic health and social statistics division. We have the censuses and GIS. We have the director sitting here with us. And we have, for the first time, a whole directorate for communications and public relations. And we have a directorate for the National Statistical System. That is key, because I would want you, as the media people, as well as the NGOs and the civil society organizations to know that we will not leave you behind in whatever we do. So we have a directorate, a director who is responsible for the interaction between and among these components of the society, the public. Universities and schools would all come together. I'll show you a slide in a few moments for you to see what we do. Next one. So, what is the basis of our work? Are we Statistics Sierra Leone just sitting there and collecting data just because we want to collect data? No. The basis of our work is anchored on national priorities. Go to the Sierra Leone Medium-Term National Development Plan. Let's go through the priorities and tell me where you cannot find data to be needed for us to even understand the basis and the metrics as you go along. So StatSL is part of that. And for the first time, the Medium-Term National Development Plan was anchored. I mean, we developed this together. And there is a section in this plan that describes the need for statistics in this country to be strengthened, the institution itself to be strengthened. So it is in broader terms that this medium-term national development plan has really described what's to be done. And the human capital project, the development project, we were also part of this in the development of the human capital development project. So there you can see our ministers, the minister Dr. Kaikai and then the Dr. Robert Chakanda, and how we work closely together. Next slide. So quickly on the vision of the institution. We want to be there, the center for making the national statistical system a viable one for the collection, the curation, the analysis, the dissemination of official statistics. This is extremely important. And we want the people of Sierra Leone, we want MDAs, we want NGOs and civil society organizations to note that StatSL is there with our expertise to assist MDAs and other institutions in the generation of quality data, credible data. That's what we stand for. And the more MDAs think about, top of mind, think about StatSL when they want to conduct surveys in this country, the better our quality, our data would be. That is important. That's what we want to do. Next slide. And within the vision of the institution, to embody the vision of the institution, when I took over the mantle of this institution, I coined a vision for the Statistician General. This is a winner vision, WINNER. If you go through it, we have to be widely known, and we're getting there, both internally and externally. And you should know that now, as I stand here, I am the rapporteur of the United Nations Statistical Commission. So internationally, we are there. All the statistics offices in the world go to the United Nations conference. And there I sit as the rapporteur for that commission. And Sierra Leone was elected to that commission. So we are getting there. Which other exposure would we need? And this commission is the global, the highest body that decides on statistical issues in the world. And StatSL sits there. Sierra Leone sits there. So the widely known, we are getting there. In the country, we see lots of institutions come to us now. We are getting there. We want to be innovative. For us to be widely known, we have to be innovative, interactive. We have to get the national statistical system in a way that is efficient in generating data. That is key. And of course, we network with lots of institutions and we coordinate the production of that. We must be efficient in everything we do. And just like I started with the medium-term national development goal, we have to be responsive to the needs, the national needs, and implement research projects and surveys, etc. So the census that we are going to do in December this year is really part of the R. We want to be responsive to national needs. We want to make sure that quality, credible data are always available in this country for decision-making processes. And I told you earlier on, if you took a look at this carefully, these slides we made available to the press, so you can see that we want to be in the middle there and get the data producers, get the data enhancers, and get the major users of this data to interact. We already organized a big conference last year, and we intend to do this again in a couple of months. It's just the COVID actually disturbed us a bit. Next slide. So I just want to give you, I'm preparing the stage for you to understand that how capable we are to do what we are planning to do. We, in 2017 already, the Sierra Leone Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey, 2017. The country needs our data, and we already used tablets to collect the data in 2017. This one was supported by a range of development partners, as you see below there, and this is really informing policy. Next slide, please. And in 2018, we conducted the Sierra Leone Integrated Household Survey. And it's us, StatSL, that produced the poverty data in this country, the poverty map in this country, dynamics of poverty in this country. So you have an institution that is capable of doing this. And we also use tablets to collect the data for this survey. Representative survey. The next one, please. The most recent one is the Demographic and Health Survey. That is in 2019. And note, we are now here in 2020. This one, we will be launching this soon. The fuller report will be launched soon. Everyone is waiting for this. The Minister of Health wants this. The development partners are looking for this data. This is key. So that is what we are capable of doing. That's the strength of this institution. Next slide. So as I said, now let us just quickly look at the constitution of this country, the 1991 constitution. I won't read all of it, but when you look through, there is reference to the latest census of the population of Sierra Leone held in pursuant to so and so. As you can see, there is, of course, a census in the population in our constitution. Now let us move to the next slide. The next slide really refers to the twin acts of the Census Act and then the Statistics Act. Now I'll read this. Not many words there. The president may from time to time, that is the Census Act, may from time to time, on the advice of the minister, by order made by a statutory instrument, direct a census to be taken of the population of Sierra Leone from time to time. Not necessarily after every 10 years or 1 year or something, from time to time, if the minister advises the president. And then within the Statistics Act of the same year, without prejudice to the generality of subsection 1, it shall be the responsibility of Statistics Sierra Leone. This is the institution that we are representing here today, to supervise and manage a national population census to be conducted every 10 years. Clear. But see what follows. And I will not read it. Should I read it for the others who are watching? Or at such shorter interval as may be determined by the president? shorter interval as may be determined by the president. It can be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 8 years, etc. So what we are going to do to this year is 5 years after. So we call it just the midterm because it's in the middle. So it's a census that will be held in the middle of two large censuses that we knew before. That is the only thing what we would want to say here. Okay, so this makes it clear. But you can see that for both of them, we are going to do a total count of the population. That makes it a census. Every individual in this country will be counted. But the main difference is that for the fuller one, we have more socioeconomic characteristics will be taken into consideration. For this one, in 2020, we will consider only a limited. Okay, and you can see that this is the draft thing that we are showing here quickly, that it's going to really it's an inclusive. Everyone will be there. Persons living with disability, we are going to be gender sensitive, the aged, the young, and everywhere in this country. That's what we're calling the People's Census. Next slide, please. And so just quickly for you, if we are going to now have the opportunity to really do this thing properly on the 4th and going probably a week or so down the line, we want to see how we will now use this opportunity to collect, to count again the people across this country to see how we can assess progress that we have made over the last 5 years. That's going to be possible for us. And we would now review, there is absolutely no national undertaking that will not be bereft with some challenges. And there are some challenges that you face as you go along and you address them. But there are others you can only do a post-mortem. It is impossible because you have a set timeline, and it's after you've completed the activity, then you will go. So the 2015 census may have had, and definitely had, some challenges, which we now have the luxury of time, the luxury of the facility we have to discover some of those. And so we will address those ones. And this time, because of the fact that in 2020 we are electronically, advanced in the work that we do, we want to be innovative. As I gave you the example in my winner vision, we want to be innovative. So we are going to be innovative this time to use computer-assisted data collection, or CAPI, you can call it computer-assisted personal interviews. But I have also told you that the last 3 years, all the surveys that we have conducted, we have made use of the CAPI. So this is what is going to happen. If we are now going to go to the field to collect data, to count everyone, so we will do so, as I started on the earlier slides, having in mind the medium-term National Development Plan. What is it that we want to achieve there? So are we now going to set baselines, or are we now going to be able to assess any little progress we've made now and make any adjustments going forward? This will be possible for us to do. And of course, if we successfully, probably not even if, we are going to be successful because we know what to do, we have the expertise, we have international and national experts who will also be joining with us. And we will have you as well to make this possible. We would have the media, we would have the NGOs, we would have civil society organizations to make us successful. Next slide. So now quickly, going through these things. So I want to, because you, the media, you should be able to explain properly some of these things. And this is why we are very happy speaking to you. Let us now start going a little bit, slightly, technical. But it's not going to be technical. It's going to be sweet. Just look at this. We will start the definition of an enumeration area. It's a boundary. Let us say we are in this conference room. Let's call this an enumeration area because we have the walls. It does not have to be a rectangle or a square or whatever. It can have all these shapes. So what you have there, if you have all households in some kind of units, they are between 80 to 120. That is the number of people who eat from the same pot. So what this enumeration area enables us to do is to really get the number of people who we send to the field. So if we have 1,000 enumeration areas, we will now determine the number of people who we send to the field, who will train, who will pay to go and collect the data for us. Okay, move. And now, a locality. Locality is a distinct population cluster. This group, as we are sitting here today, would be a locality. We are all sitting here, we all have something to do, We have something to do together, there's some relationship, and whatever, we have neighboring sets, can be a locality. We could also take the entire floor of this ministry as a locality with different sorts of things, compositions. Okay? So, let's take those two. We now have an enumeration area, and we now know what a locality is. Let's move quickly. And let's take my village. That's where I was born, Warima. So if you look at my village, I have been able to map all the houses that are there. Okay? And that's, if you count, there are 80 houses, and if you count, there are 119 households. Remember our definition of enumeration area? Between 80 to 120. So it means that my village could be an enumeration area, and we call it a type 1 locality. A type 1 locality in this case is a village that has enough households to be assigned an enumerator to go and collect. So type 1. So let's move to the other one quickly. The type 2 locality now, that settlement, it's so large that we would have to divide it into several enumeration areas. Let us take this floor, Ministry of Information and Communication. It's so large now that we take this as one EA, another EA, several EAs. So this becomes a type 2 locality. I hope it's getting clearer and even sweeter. Okay, so we take here by 91 as an example. Let's move to the other one. Now we have, take a look at this. Now we have a type 3 locality. Let us go to a ministry that does not have many people as the Ministry of Communications, Information and Communications. Let's take probably the environment. It's a new ministry that was put there. There are just about 20 households in that ministry. Let's take another ministry that has 30 households. Another ministry. So it means that these ministries on their own cannot really have an enumeration area. We have to now look for the ministries around where they are clustered. We put them all together. And so, we are able to get the size. And so we call that a type 3 locality. So we have 3 types of localities. I hope that is now very clear to our media and to all of you, the people of Sierra Leone listening to us today. So, now, see what is happening here. So, we now have the justification for us to now move and try to do something. That's type 3 locality I talked about, where you have several groups that are not able to form an enumeration area. Just look at the blue, type 3. Okay? Please take a look at this. The blue is all type 3. And this other one's here, the mauve or purple, type 2. And then the brown, or whichever color we call it, type 1. The problem now we had is that for this type 3 localities, we were not able, can you go back to the slide? For this type 3 locality, you say it's blue, we can give you the total number of the enumeration area, but we cannot give you the actual population size of this, of Masise here, of Luganda or something there. So if you came to me now and you wanted to, let us say you came from Masamba here and you were born here and you came to start SL. Oh, Malam, we've heard you're doing great work here. Your team is great, whatever. You know, I want to go and do something in my village or something like this, whatever you wanted to do. Can you please tell us, please, based on the 2015 census, can you please tell us tell me the number of people in my village? I want to do something quickly. I would say, oh yeah, well, you know what? I can tell you that your area has 9 villages. The total number of those 9 villages is 50,000. Then you say, but I did not say tell me about the 9 villages. Tell me about my village. I'll say, can you come again? Then I'll start, but I will not be able to tell you. That is the problem. And what happens, you have seen yourself the map. Can we go to the map? The next one. Yeah. Here. So for all of this, about 59% of the country, I am not able to tell you the exact numbers, the figures of those localities. That is the problem. So what we did, if you now move to the next slide, so I had come to the country with that expertise, with the technical know-how. So I did my own calculations. I called my colleagues. So I said, no. So there must be some challenge here. Can we get the consultant? Let's go back to the consultant who helped us to do this 2015 census. And we called them. Fortunately, we got an organization that paid for the consultants to come back and worked with us for 2 months. This was the consultant who was here. So I worked with him. We worked. Eventually he said, you know what, Mr. Statistician General, I think the best way we can get this thing sorted out is if we really had the opportunity to go back to the field and get this thing cleared out. So, but you saw it. If you are going to go back to the field, 59% of the country, 60% of the country, why wouldn't you just do it and try to update the entire country itself? So, ladies and gentlemen, as you're listening to me, that is the basic reason why we felt a census of this country is really important, especially when we are now trying to handle most of these strategic goals, etc. So this is important. So we recommended this, and it went through the processes. The minister passed it on to the presidency, and as you now know, it was declared. So the next slide, please. And so now you know why. So that's 60% of the country needs to be dealt with. And so why do we just don't do it together? But that's why we said, if we are going to do this together, let us don't bother lots of people. We will count the population and we will just address the identified challenges and really reals for the future. And because we are using tablets to collect this data, there are lots and lots of good things we can do quickly. Quickly, we can do. The next one. And we can do it, gentlemen, because we know about what people have been saying here. For the 2015 or for other censuses, you have been hearing people say they've not been counted. They are standing there. Imagine the whole of the 2-week period, no one came to me and all this. And we've had others say that the enumerators we send to the field would sit under a tree and would fill their big papers, their questionnaires, etc. It's not going to happen this time. Okay? We are using computer software. You are in the field, you are over here in Kailao, or you're over there, probably Mungo or someplace. We will be at the center in Freetown. We will know what is happening. And we'll also have our regional offices to monitor. Okay? So you can see the numbers here. So if we sent you to a place where we expect you to have, let's say 40 40 households to really go through it, or the numbers of residential units to enumerate, and you have done 9, we will know that you still need to do 31. And if you did 9 at the space of, let's say, 3 days, when we expected you to have completed 20 in 3 days, my friend, what's happening with you? And be sure, we will not only use the tablets, we also have human beings going to look. We have monitors, we have supervisors, and we have all of you there to check. This is what we will be doing. So this is possible. This is the Freetown area. You can see the numbers. We did this for the annual economic survey of enterprises, and it worked very well. So now we have the expertise, and what the advantage as well for doing this is that when you use the tablets, you can already embed. You embed within this plausibility checks, consistency checks, so that lots of mistakes that would have happened during the 2015 census, when the guys who were in the field, who collected their data, who wrote whatever they wrote, and these papers were brought to the office, and there were data coders, and there are those who inputted the data. There were lots of challenges that could have been faced there. So, we may not say the numbers total, but now you see that the type 3 locality, we were not able, the coding was not able to be done in a way that you can say that is the village. Now it's not going to be possible because we will address that. Wise men must correct themselves from the mistakes of others. And I think we are becoming wiser with technology. So every tablet we send to the field, to an enumeration area, will be assigned to that. So that if you sent us data from an enumeration area A, we now know that this data is coming from enumeration area A. So this is possible for us. As you say, additional monitoring is the expected outcomes. And you should be proud of this. It's going to be an institution that is really well structured and capacitated to do this business. We are going to be that institution that is capable of handling these things. Kenya has done a census with tablets, and in record time the results were out and not contested. People were happy. So why can't we do it as Sierra Leoneans, guys? It's possible. We can do it. And so lots of things there that we will achieve with the process. And the strategy, that is where we come. So it's just buttressing what I have said earlier on, bringing everyone on board. Inclusiveness is going to be the key word here. The people's census, all of you. And don't stand there, ladies and gentlemen, and wait until things have gone wrong for you to comment about the wrongdoing or something that did not go well. We want you in the process to say, Mr. DSG, we heard that so and so is not happening. Can you please get your team to check? Andrew Bob Johnny would be there to ensure that things happen. And if you have not been counted in the process, don't wait and say, aha, wait a minute. I they wait for them. Now, yeah, they not count me, or they see in the past, they not count to me. Don't do it. We want Sierra Leoneans to be up there, and anyone who would have been in the country on that day to say, look, guys, you cannot just be moving around here. I am also here. I need to be counted. And it's you who should also be telling the people we ask, the household heads, that where you slept, you have to be reminding them that, hey, I was there, so I need to be counted. Okay? What have we done so far? Lots of things. So we are ready. We've done lots of things. We have established the census secretariats. We've verified the localities in this country. And you will soon see how beautiful things are coming up. Okay? So this is what we're doing. We're engaging national and international partners. We've started the stakeholder engagement, and people and institutions are coming to Statistician. We decided to give you an example of the locality verification process to demonstrate our willingness to be inclusive. We wrote letters and delivered to the chiefs, to the paramount chiefs, to the section chiefs. And how many villages do you have in this area? Please come. We all went together and we were there, and they verified, and they even signed. We have documents now with us where the paramount chief signed, the section chief signed, and all of this is there. So that is the kind of process we want to assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that Statistician will put in place. And see how beautiful things are coming out. As I said, we will publish this information. In 2015, there were 17,023 localities in this country that were counted and geocoded. We have them on the map. So when we went to the chiefs recently to verify the numbers, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you would expect that some districts would have added some new villages here and there. And some would have actually dissolved. Some small localities would have dissolved. So, see what happens here. We found out that in the south, all the districts there in the south lost localities. In the east, they all gained localities. In the northwest, some gained, some lost. In the that's northeast, northwest, it happened the same. And in the western area, western region, we had a gain of 23. So, the total number of localities we verified, stamped by the chiefs, is 17,133. This is expected. So that's the message we want to send to this country. We are not going to do the census to undo what we did in 2015. And be aware of this, ladies and gentlemen. It was us, Statistician. We did that census. So, otherwise, something must be wrong. We are standing behind the institution. So, and this is one very good example that you now have, where we have about 6%. Do we have mathematicians here with the media? Can you calculate, you subtract this? How do you usually do it? this minus this over this times 100, and you get the percentage. Just do it. I may have gotten it wrong, don't worry. Okay? But that's possible. Okay, so this is the thing. So we also now have the timelines, how we want to go through the process, right from the locality verification to the dissemination of the results. We've done this thing before, so we know what to do. We will, of course, have others along the line to help us. Next slide, please. There's the budget for this work. We want to be transparent in what we do, and we've raised most of the funding. We may have funding gaps here and there, but we are really trying. We're in the process of getting the funds to move this. And we have, I'm just giving you some key partners. The Ministry of Planning, of course, is our supervisory ministry. We will be working with the NCRA, with the Ministry of Finance and the civil societies, etc. And as I said, the stakeholder engagement, I decided not to name these people because I'm sure you will know them. You know probably this thing, but there's Andrew Lavalley, and we have Masala, and we have the Honorable. Sorry, this is a bit dark here. For the National Commission for Persons Living with Disability. And that's where we are, guys. That's Statistician. You should be proud of. And this is where we are generating the data for you. Thank you very much. God bless you.
As another listen to Professor Usman A. Sanko, where it talk about the importance for the population and how the census will go start in the country December 2020. As it also say, people for make sure say then they na us during the time for the census, so then go count them. Mena Aissatou Smile say until we meet again, I say tata.